You're listening to Grown and Growing with Sonia Hamlin. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so glad you're here with me today. This week, it's a solo episode, and I'm talking about the holiday. Woo! 'Tis the season. Thanksgiving was just on Thursday, and we are in full holiday effect right now. For me, the holiday season officially starts at Thanksgiving and goes until New Year's Day. I know some people and some retailers want to start the holiday season in September on the first day of fall or right before Halloween. And to me, that's too early. No, we cannot. It's too soon. I need to have a real fall. Fall is my favorite season. And since we live in global warming and climate change, fall is kind of getting shorter and shorter. I need those 4 weeks of fall or however many weeks we get before the first snow. I need that. I need those cooler temps in the low 70s and high 60s. I need that fall foliage, which is my favorite part of fall. I love watching the leaves change from a deep red to a bright red to orange to gold to yellow. It's my favorite. I love it. And also fall is when homecoming happens. Shout out to my HBCUs. Fall and homecoming go together like peanut butter and jelly. You can't have one without the other. And it's also time to bring back your hot drinks, like your teas and your coffees and your hot chocolates, and your pumpkin spice flavored stuff. I'm not into pumpkin spice flavored stuff, but if you are, more power to you. I want that for you. I want you to be happy with that. So I'm really not trying to skip over fall to get to the holidays. Another reason I'm not rushing to deck the halls is because the holidays signal that the year is coming to an end. And these days, I am just not rushing to finish another year, to check another year off of my calendar. I need time to slow down a bit. Sometimes I feel like it's going too fast. And when you start the holidays before Halloween, you just get there that much quicker. To me, it's officially holiday season, like I said, when the leaves are gone, Thanksgiving is done, the temperatures are solidly in the 40s or 50s, Cleveland has gotten its first snow, which could actually happen in September. If you're from Cleveland, you know. But they've gotten their first snow. Maryland hasn't. We don't usually get snow this early, but you break out your holiday music, you watch your holiday movies. And this is the time that it's time for Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate during this time of year. In general, through most of my life, the holiday season has been a very positive and festive experience for me. On its surface, it's that time of year that screams happiness and joy everywhere you look. It is in the music. It is in the decorations, from lights and snowmen and holiday scented candles and Christmas trees and nativity scenes and winter wonderland. It is a time of gift giving and also being extremely grateful for what you have. And it's also a time of parties, right? Lots of gatherings, lots of holiday parties, and just spending time with your family and friends. But the older I get, the more I come to understand that the holiday season is also an incredibly sad time for a lot of people. And I think it's important to acknowledge this. I feel like it's kind of irresponsible to go through the season in your happiness and holiday cheer bubble and not acknowledge that this time of year can be extremely painful and extremely hard for people for a lot of different reasons. And the first thing that comes to mind are people who lost loved ones. Whether it's your first holiday or your 50th holiday, without that person or persons you love, it is very hard. And it takes some of the joy out of celebrating Christmas. There's also seasonal depression, or it's called seasonal affective disorder, SAD. Healthcare loves their acronyms, I tell you. But this is a depression that is triggered by a change in season, specifically from fall into winter, right? When the time changes, it gets dark earlier, it's colder, you spend more time inside, and you're more prone to overeating or sleeping more. And so it really triggers, this change of season really triggers depression in some people. And it can also happen the other way. There are people who suffer from seasonal depression when, spring turns into summer as well, but it's a smaller subset than those who suffer when fall turns into winter. And you're more likely to have seasonal affective disorder if you already have a mood disorder like bipolar disorder or a mental health condition like schizophrenia. You typically or you're more prone to be affected by seasonal depression. And I'm not just talking about, oh, I'm a little sad because it's cold now. I can't wear shorts anymore. The sun doesn't shine as often, so I'm sad about that. These are real symptoms that really disrupt your everyday life. It keeps you from doing everyday things in your life, holds you down. You can't just decide that you have seasonal affective disorder. It's a real disorder. And so you really need to get diagnosed yourself and get professional help from a doctor, a therapist, or a counselor if you feel like you are suffering from this type of depression. The healthcare professional in me also has to talk about the effects that the holidays have on your health. Did you know that more people get heart attacks during this time of year than any other time of year? Yes, heart attacks during this time of year surge. And it's from a number of reasons, but one reason is because we take in excess sodium, we are eating excessively, drinking excessively, we tend to pull back on the workouts. Things like shoveling snow when you're older can, overexert yourself, causing a heart attack. So it's really important that when you're celebrating, this is a reminder to myself too, because I've been known to go in during the holiday season as well. But the older I get, it's like, you're not a spring chicken. You can't eat like you used to. The food doesn't sit like it used to. And so you have to be cognizant of your health during this time. So it's not my intention to turn this into a sad podcast about all the negative things that happen during the holiday season. But I also want to be cognizant that the holidays does not mean good cheer for everyone. And so this is a reminder to myself and encouragement to you to be more empathetic, right? Be more kind to people. Be slow to anger or annoyance. Save that middle finger when you have road rage and you want to kirk out on somebody. Save it. It's the holiday. Do yourself a bit of kindness and that person who slighted you. Show them some grace and some kindness and just back off. Plus, we live in an increasingly crazy world, right? I know if you pay attention to the news, the world is just increasingly violent and seemingly has no regard for human life. And so, you know what? A kind word to somebody can just go a long way because you never know what they are going through, what they were considering doing, and a kind word from you could do something to change that behavior, if only for a second. So just, take a moment and, just remember that a kind word, gesture, a smile kind of goes a long way. Let's switch gears a bit and talk about decorating. First things first, are you team real tree or team fake tree? Where do you stand? Right now, currently, I am on team fake tree, team artificial, faux tree, whatever you want to call it. I have a very nice, real looking tree, but it's fake as hell. And I've been on team fake tree since I married my husband. And he's actually the reason we have a fake tree. Throughout my childhood growing up in Cleveland, as long as I can remember, we had a real Christmas tree. We would go out, buy a tree, bring it home. My dad would put it in that little green circular thing. We would have to water it every day or, every so often. We always fell off and the needles would get very dry and start falling off and they would stick you in the feet. But we were definitely a real tree family. And I just like the way real trees look. It can't be really duplicated with a fake tree like that, because they're not exactly perfect. Some of them are fat and round and short, and some of them are tall, and sometimes they have holes and you got to turn it around so it faces the wall. I was just really team real tree. And I thought when I got married, I would continue to have a real tree. In fact, when we lived in Pennsylvania, before we had kids, they had a tradition there, or they had a thing in central PA where they would go out to Christmas tree farms and actually you could cut down your tree, or you could have the person working there cut down a tree for you and you would take it home. That was very like Charlie Brown Christmas. That was very cool. And if I had kids, we would have definitely done that. But I didn't have kids at the time, so we didn't do it. But Derek has this aversion to real trees. And his explanation to me is that he thinks something is living in it. And I don't know if that's a Baltimore City thing and he just doesn't trust nature. But we've never had an experience where something was living in our tree, as far as I can remember. I know people have, but I have not. So right now I'm team fake tree, but I'm ready to jump over to team real tree one of these years. One day I'm going to convince him that we should get a real tree. But right now it's just really convenient to go to the attic, pull down the tree, take it out the box, throw it up, fluff it out. And when Christmas is over, toss it back in the box, put it up in the attic. No harm, no foul. So where do you stand? Are you team real or team fake? They both have their benefits. So how hard do you go with your Christmas decorations? Are you put up your Christmas tree and you're done? Or do you go in like Martha Stewart? So I am more of I put up my tree and I'm done. And my oldest sister, is definitely team Martha Stewart. She is on that Mariah Carey level of decorating. I'm talking pillows and wreaths and candles and reindeer and Santas and inside lights and outside lights and towels and garland and ribbon all over her main floor. She has multiple Christmas trees. I mean, she just goes the whole 9 yards. After Thanksgiving, actually before Thanksgiving, she had already made little Christmas themed table settings for her living room table, her side tables, her entry table. They all had decorations on them. I mean, she is one person who loves Christmas and decorates the entire house. You feel like you're in a winter wonderland. Shout out to my sister who does a great job. I am more of the put up my Christmas tree, put out a few doohickeys here and there, and I'm done. I'm not making anything. That's another thing my sister does. She makes a lot of her ornaments. She makes her wreath. Who makes their wreath? But she does, and she enjoys that. I prefer to buy my wreath from a store that's somebody has already made and hang it up on the door. So, I tend to fall on the, put up the Christmas tree. I put all of my energy into the Christmas tree. And recently I bought a Santa and I bought a pillow, a Christmas pillow. So, baby steps. And when I think of the type of decorations, I observe like people fall into two categories, or I think of two categories. I think of people who decorate with fun in mind. They either have kids or they're a kid at heart, and their decorations are just based in fun. They have, in those inflatables, maybe several inflatables out in their yard. They have Christmas trees with colorful lights, and maybe the lights blink, and then they have ornaments that their kids made, and they have ornaments of their kids' favorite characters. They have Santas and snowmen all around. It's very playful. And then there's the people who decorate with glam in mind. They are definitely doing it for the gram, who have multiple trees. The kids do not factor. You will not find a handmade kid ornament on their tree at all. Why? Because it is, I don't want to use the word cluttered, but let's say full. It's full of, decorative ornaments, as big as your head or as small as a walnut. They have ribbons with glitter, things with glitter, lots, and it's all color coordinated, or it's really monochromatic, but it's matching. Okay. These people do not play, and they are very proud of their Christmas trees. They often will have multiple Christmas trees. You will definitely see it the day after Thanksgiving, and they'll say, "This is tree number 1. We're working on tree number 2." And it's this beautiful thing that really belongs in a magazine. So I feel like those are the two people out here decorating. Well, up until 2 years ago, I was definitely the person who decorated for my kids. My tree had colorful blinking lights. I definitely decorated so that my kids would ooh and ah. Like, that was my main focus, was to see my kids just be in awe of our Christmas tree. Our stockings were characters because that's what they liked. Our snowmen were jolly and our Santas were jolly. I just wanted to make my kids just ooh and ah. And so right now they're kind of past the ooh and ah stage. Like, they're definitely excited to put up a Christmas tree. They enjoy the lights, but they don't care that I switch from the colorful blinking lights to all white lights that don't blink, right? Because somehow that's more sophisticated as a tree. So I switched to white lights. This was about 2 years ago. I decided to go down that aisle in Michael's where they have all of these, I don't even know what to call them, things like tree branches and berries on a stick, and they're all plastic, and they have glitter balls and glitter ornaments and glitter everything. Or they have flowers, and the flowers are different colors, and you can take all of that stuff and start sticking them in your tree. I did that for the first time 2 years ago, made my tree. It was like gold and silver with some hints of fuchsia or something like that. And it was my first adult Christmas tree. And I was so proud of that thing. I may post pictures on it on social media so you can see it. Don't come for me though, because it's baby steps. It was my first adult Christmas tree that I'm going to share with y'all. There was nothing kiddish about it. My kids still enjoyed it. I definitely had to, make sure I buried that little Ravens football like somewhere in the back. So it was there, but it wasn't, it didn't mess up the picture. So I am definitely a person who is moving out of the kid stage into the more glam phase, but baby steps. I'm not exactly there yet, but I'm getting there, and it's kind of fun. So let's end this by talking about what the holiday is really about. Food, folks, and fun. Really. That's what makes holidays so special. Heavy on the folks, right? When it comes to the holidays, one of the things that I do love is spending more time with my family and friends. I've lived in Maryland since 1996, and all of my immediate family members and most of my extended family live in Cleveland. So, I'm kind of the odd man out here. I miss the Christmas parties and things like that often. And my trips over the years back home to Cleveland have become fewer and fewer as my life gets busier here, as my kids grow older, as we develop our own traditions here. Getting back to Cleveland is not as, I don't get back to Cleveland as often as I would like. And so, what we've done and what we decided in my family is that, Thanksgiving would be the time that we either traveled to Cleveland or they traveled to Maryland. And more often than not, we end up traveling to Cleveland. But there are times where my family has come to Maryland, which is always great because we can have my family from Cleveland and, my in-laws can come over as well. And we can just have, a good old time all together. But Christmas is definitely spent at home. I want my kids to be able to wake up and open their gifts and be at home. And I want all our toys to ship to our house. And there is an exception to that rule, though. And it's having Christmas or spending Thanksgiving on an island in the Caribbean somewhere, or maybe on the continent. I would love to do that. Just spending it in a warm, different climate would be pretty awesome. And I would change the tradition for that. I'm particularly excited about Christmas this year because we are in our new house. And last year, when we moved here, we moved the second week of December, around or about a few weeks from Christmas, a couple of weeks from Christmas, really. So Christmas was already going to be tight, right? We moved into a house. There were boxes everywhere. And then like the week before Christmas, we all came down with COVID. It might have been a little closer to Christmas because I remember distinctly being sick on Christmas. My entire family had COVID. We were down out for the count. And so we didn't even put up a Christmas tree. We didn't open gifts. It was just a very hectic year. Luckily, I have very, very sweet kids who don't place a lot of emphasis on gifts and toys. And so they didn't really make a big deal about it. They didn't care, honestly. They've never been the type of people or the type of kids who focus on material things. In fact, I make them put together a Christmas list every year, and I promise it's like pulling teeth to put stuff on there. My daughter actually she wanted cornstarch on her Christmas list. Cornstarch and silly putty. Really? I need her to think a little bit bigger. I actually gave it back to her and was like, no, I need you to look at this Target book and go through it and, and come up with some things that, are fun. And also, why cornstarch? And also, I've banned silly putty from our house. You can no longer have it. And so, they didn't really care. My husband, and actually talking to him, he actually loved it. He was like, we got to watch movies together. We cuddled all week. It was great. It was awesome. I'm like, except we had COVID and that wasn't awesome. Anyway, I digress. This year, Christmas is in our new house with the Christmas tree up. I'm looking at it right now with no decorations on it, but we are gearing up to have our first Christmas in this home, and I couldn't be happier. And for food, look, guys, if you listen to one of my earlier episodes, you will know that cooking is just not my ministry. It's not that I can't cook. I actually do pretty well in the kitchen. I can, make a macaroni and cheese. I can make yams. I can make stuff. I'm really good at it. I just don't like it. It just takes a long time. It's hot. I used to cook for Thanksgiving and Christmas because, I would want my family to have traditional meal. But a lot of times I'd be the only one cooking and I would cook multiple dishes and it's a lot. It's hot. My feet hurt and I'm tired. And by the end of it, I don't even want any of the food. I just kind of want to lay down and go to sleep. And so I was kind of tired of spending my Thanksgiving and Christmases like that. And one year I was just like, one Christmas, I was like, I'm not cooking. I have a friend, her mom's a caterer. She makes the bomb food. Guess what? She's going to cater our Christmas dinner. And she did. And I bought a turkey and I think I made like cornbread. But catering our meals has been a lifesaver because then I can spend more time with family. I can spend more time chilling, listening to music, laughing, doing the things that I enjoy most. Being in the kitchen is not one of them. And I actually convinced my sisters to do that this year. My brother-in-law actually ordered, the main dishes for our Thanksgiving meal, and we only had to make one dish. Each of us had to make one dish for Thanksgiving dinner. So that was a lifesaver. I know. I mean, look, I'm sorry if y'all judging me, but I really just don't like cooking. And so, we have the meal. I just didn't have to slave over it in the kitchen and everybody's happy, including me. And finally, the fun, right? What's the fun? The fun is in gathering. I love going to Christmas parties, hanging out with my friends. We have parties at work, which are cool or whatever. There's also gift giving, which, let me say this carefully. I like to give gifts. I hate shopping for gifts. You don't have to be in a mall as much anymore or at all if you don't want to. But trying to figure out what to get adults is like mind-numbing. How many candles, slippers, robes, ties, can one person buy? And if you don't really talk to the person a lot, you don't really know what to get them. So you end up getting them something that's middle of the road, right? It's kind of middle of the road. It's hard to be offended by a candle or some smell goods from Victoria's Secrets, if people still do that. It's hard to be offended, but it's also not something that's very, meaningful to them. I like meaningful gifts. And, so I would prefer if people told me what they wanted and I was able to provide that. Like, what do you want? And you can even give me a few, a couple of things or 2 or 3 things, and I can pick. That's fine. I just don't want to have to guess what you want. Tell me what you want. I pick one. I'm happy. You're happy. If you want a gift card, I'm fine. I'm not one of those people who are like, don't tell me gift cards because that's not personal. No, if you want a gift card, you can get one from me. And also, please give me one because I don't want your smell goods from Victoria's Secret. I don't want your fragrances or candles. Thank you very much. But, I don't know if this makes me a Scrooge or not, but my other sister, my youngest sister, Leah, she is really good at giving gifts. Like, she's so thoughtful about it. She starts in September. She probably has some sinking fund, like this is my money for Christmas shopping. And she starts in September, and by 2 weeks before Christmas, she's done. And they're all packaged in nice little bags that she has accumulated over the years, or that she has gone to the dollar store and picked up and packaged them so nicely. And it's so thoughtful. She's a very good gift giver, and I could probably learn a thing or 2 from her. So maybe I will, but if I'm giving you a gift, you're probably a child, or, if you've expressed to me something that you wanted and I feel compelled to give it to you. So I'm going to wrap this up. I hope that you guys have a wonderful Christmas. I hope you had an awesome Thanksgiving. I hope you're able to bring in the new year with people you love. And I hope that everybody has a prosperous, wonderful holiday season. I am signing off as though I will not have new podcasts after this one. I will, but I won't be talking about Christmas. I won't be talking about, the holidays, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or whatever it is that you celebrate. Happy winter. I won't be talking about that. There'll be all new episodes that I'm very excited about. So continue to stay tuned. This is not it, but I wanted to take this time to specifically talk about the holidays, to specifically wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, if that's what you celebrate. And if you are missing a loved one, if you are a little sad and down this winter, my thoughts are with you. Hugs to you. And I hope that you find a glimmer of happiness and joy sometime during this Christmas season. Thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you next time.